Welcome everyone to the January 12th episode of Stuck in the Middle. Today we're going to talk about the men's basketball team picking up a big win against Louisiana Tech, as well as the women picking up their first conference W on the road in San Antonio. We'll also talk about the Tennessee Titans' big divisional round matchup in the NFL playoffs against the defending champion Patriots. Today with us we have Xavier Dupree and Marthany Sanders. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Pretty good. Last night, we'll start off with the men. Got a big win against Louisiana Tech in pretty spectacular fashion. Me and Xavier were talking about this earlier, that Louisiana Tech is going into the season was picked to be third in the conference and even received a couple of first place votes from some of the coaches and media members. What are y'all's first takeaways from this game?
Well, like you just said, coming into this year, La Tech was projected to be one of the best teams in the conference, and they really haven't lived up to that expectation so far this year. It was a good win for MT. One thing that's really just sticking out to me though, and it's kind of, I guess I shouldn't be alarmed, but it's kind of one thing that just sticks out to me. The MT isn't really shooting well from 3-point range, at least this far this season. Last couple of years, MT has been really, really good at shooting the three ball, and for some reason this year it's just not falling. I don't know what's going on with it, but last night he shot 28%, for 3-point range last night. Your best 3-point shooter, Giddy Potts, he was 0 for 2, from 3-point range. So that's one thing that's kind of just sticking out to me. We gotta get that better and shoot better for three.
Yeah, the 3-point line has been really friendly to Middle Tennessee this year in a lot of their games, especially for Giddy Potts in the first part of the season. And he had that stretch in late December, early January so far, where with the exception of yesterday's game, he's been shooting like 50+%.
Mm-hmm.
So getting consistency out of him would be nice. But the best thing to take away from it was how Brandon Walters played.
Yeah.
Brandon Walters pitched a perfect game, so to speak.
Yeah.
He shot 7-7 from the field, was 4-4 from the free throw line, and he just seemed more confident. You saw more out of Brandon Walters last night than you have really all year. Now this wasn't his season high. Season high, scoring is 20.
Mm-hmm.
But this was easily his best game. He had 3 blocks too, and he altered every shot without getting in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And the first thing that Kermit Davis said in the press conference, after the game was he's not taking his arms and overbearing people, putting his arms over. He's going straight up.
Yeah.
He's altering shots. Sometimes that doesn't have to block every shot, but there were times the Louisiana Tech guards would get in the lane and they would have to shoot over his 6'10", 6'11" frame.
Yeah.
And that's almost impossible to do. He's just got a body where he can play defense really well naturally.
Yeah.
And if you ask Brandon, what he's been doing better in terms of playing on the defensive end, he's just going to tell you he just moves his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He moves his feet a lot better. And whenever he moves his feet, say straight up, and plays defense without fouling, you hold teams like Louisiana Tech, who average 80 points a game during the season, to 57. And you make guys like Jacoby Boykins one-dimensional because they're having to camp outside the 3-point line and throw up threes. And the other guards, like Bracey, Quan Bracey was probably their leading scorer in the game, and he got just a bunch of tough twos.
Yeah.
But missed a couple shots in the paint just because Brandon Walters, was a presence. Another takeaway was Nick King having another double-double. This is his third straight double-double.
Yeah, he's been playing real well.
Mm-hmm. Easily, I would say, from what I've seen of other players and keeping up with Conference USA basketball this season, that Nick King's probably the front runner for Player of the Year.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, he's second. Going into the game last night, he was second in the league in scoring behind John Elmore for Marshall, and he only had 19 against Charlotte last night, so that's probably going to change. I'd say Nick King probably is the leading scorer in Conference USA because I think it was less than a whole point difference.
Yeah.
In that setting, he had 22 last night, shot 9 of 18, and really salvaged a pretty rough shooting start. And he had 14 of 22 in the second half, and he was starting to make the shots he was missing the first because he just missed a couple bunnies within 3 or 4 feet of the basket in the first half, and he's might have been, I think, our best 3-point shooter last night too.
Yep.
2 for 4.
Yeah. And I think, we talking about Nick King, how well he's been playing. I think, we were talking about Giddey earlier. He did get in some foul trouble last night. But with Nick King playing so well and him banging down there in the paint, it's only a matter of time before Giddey finds his stroke, man. So, we, kind of talked about how, he misses 2 3-pointers last night, but I have no doubt that he'll get it back, and once he gets it, will be tough to beat. It'll be tough to beat.
Exactly.
Definitely. And I another positive thing that I look at is the free throw shooting. We went 16 of 19, so roughly about 84%. So not that's necessarily saying that we're not settling just for the jump shots. We're getting to the lane, we're getting fouled, and we're making our free throws.
Yeah.
Brandon hit all his free throws. Tyreek got to the free throw line, hit all his free throws. David Simmons, most of his points came from the free throw line. Well, yeah, half of his points came from the free throw line. So that's a pretty good outlook. And also, like you said, when you holding a team like Louisiana Tech, who averages about 80 points and holding them down to 57, that's getting stopped. So that means you're grabbing rebounds, and they out rebounded them 41 to 26. So that's in the possessions on defense. Knowing how it is in college with that 30, it was 30 seconds.
30 seconds down,
So
yeah.
30 seconds of you playing tremendous defense, you're getting that stop, and now you're either leading out to a fast break, or now you're setting up your offense to get what you have going, which as of now, right now, is banging it down low with Brandon and Nick from the elbow down. And I think now, the thing is, I kind of like that right now because as time goes along and we get further along in conference play, and teams want to say, well, hey, man, we need to shut them down inside, keep them around from getting in the paint, just like we kind of just mentioned. After a while, Giddey's gonna have one of those games where he's, 4 or 5 from the 3-point line, 6 for 7 from the 3-point line, and reels off about 25, 28 points. And now it's like, now we can work it from inside out, kick, penetrate, and a lot of things. And then at that point, then you have your guys like Antoine Jameson and Ed Simpson who will hit their threes and then come around and make some cuts to the basket, get their easy buckets because you're so worried about both aspects of the game, whether it's inside with Nick or Brandon, then you still have to worry about Giddey, going off at any moment. So that's a good look right now, starting off 4-0 in conference play. We necessarily, as of now, haven't played, the best competition in the conference, but, conference play is conference play. You got to get your wins when you can. Louisiana Tech is probably the best conference team we so far probably played, besides UAB. So it's a good look right now to keep it going, keep on the undefeated in conference play to start off that hot start, because those games against Marshall and Western and a couple other teams, they're coming up pretty soon. So let's try to get those early wins that you can before you get ready for those big ones. So it won't necessarily it'll be a difference between being first and second or fourth and fifth. Because the conference is that good this year.
It really is. Yeah, this is an improved conference too. Because you look at Louisiana Tech, they have they're a really high scoring, potent offense from like we said, 80 points a game, and the 57 they scored last night was a season low.
Yeah.
And they played some tough competition. They only lost at Alabama by 3 points.
Yeah.
And they've had a rough start in the conference season. The loss last night puts them at 1-4. And for a team that was voted third in the conference to begin the season, it's a little underwhelming. And a lot of their losses have been close. They lost to UT San Antonio by 1. They lost, or was it 1 or 2? I know it was a 1-possession game.
I think it was 1.
And they lost at Western Kentucky by 1. And outside of that game, almost no one's been able to touch Western Kentucky in conference play. Old Dominion held them to a single-digit game last night between the battle of 2 undefeated Conference USA teams. And that really just shows how good Western Kentucky is and how good Louisiana Tech can be, because they did that on the road and only lost by 1. Had a shot blocked, on their last possession. So Louisiana Tech's a good ball team. They've lost some games they shouldn't have lost. Obviously.
And that's just that. Once again, like we've been saying, that harks back to the defense, man. We've been playing good defense, and for arguably our best player to only have, what was it? I mean, he only had 4 points, Giddey, but I mean, he had a block, he had 2 steals. Brandon had 3 blocks. Nick King, he had 1 block and a steal. So, I mean, we're getting it done on the defensive end. You know, we're getting stops, getting turnovers. You know, La Tech had 9 turnovers last night. So, I mean, we're doing a number on the defensive end. We keep this up, keep playing defense the way we are. Like I said, everybody find their way, find their shot, and we'll see. You know, once we get into those matchups with some of the better teams in the conference.
And the bench has been playing pretty well too the past few games as well. I'll take 19 points from the bench. You know, knowing the type of scores that we had with Nick and Giddy.
Yeah.
And you know what Brandon can do from time to time. So I would take 19 points from my bench any day when I got 2 dynamic scorers and a big guy who can pretty much get any shot he can in that painted area with his 6'11" frame. So 19 points from the bench is pretty good. And 19 second chance points.
Yeah,
that's hustling. That's
real.
That's just hustle. That's effort.
Big.
And that's something that you can't complain about whether you're a fan. You're a fan of this team. You can't complain about that. They're out here hustling, getting offensive rebounds, and leading them back up to second chance points with this, put back, a kick out 3, and also points in the paint. 34 points in the paint. So like we said, we're not necessarily just settling for the jump shot.
Yep.
So when you get 34 points in the paint, you're getting in the teeth of those opposing teams' defense, and you're either getting that easy 2-pointer or you're getting fouled going to the free throw line making free throws, or it could be possibly a 3-point play with an and one. So you're finding ways to get points easily and not necessarily having to jack up a whole bunch of jump shots.
Yeah.
Contested ones at that,
Yes.
too. And when you have Nick King playing as well as he does and Brandon, like, those 2 feed off each other really well. Because as an opposing coach, it's really hard to game plan defensively. Because if Brandon Walters is having to get you can't double him because Giddy Potts can shoot well from 3 and he'll kill you.
Yeah.
Whenever he's on, whenever he's shooting 5 for 7 or he's in prime 3-point shooting form, he'll kill you. And Nick King's been able to play well from the perimeter, too, along with that. And Nick King 1-on-1 is also a matchup nightmare. You can ISO Nick King, and if you allow him to go left, he's going to score every time.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I've seen it for a long time.
When Nick gets going, he is incredibly hard to stop. And last night in the second half, he kind of put his head down. He got to the bucket. They played off on him a little bit to stop the drive, and he was hitting jump shots.
Yeah.
And that's when really, he made this big run. Was Nick King and Brandon Walters induced.
Yeah.
And I like what Marthy said earlier, going back, to the bench. When you can get production out of David Simmons and Antoine Johnson like you have been, Antoine Johnson off of 2 feet, standing 2 feet, has probably the most hang time of almost any player in college basketball. Guy's stupid athletic. And when his jump shot was falling last night too, he had a step back 3. Early in the game, and it was one of the more impressive plays he's had all year long.
Yeah.
You get that production out of him off the bench, and you're always going to get it from David Simmons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the thing is, David Simmons' game travels because he doesn't have to shoot the ball well to be effective. He's always in there grabbing rebounds. He grabbed 5 or 6 rebounds last night.
Yeah, 6.
That's 6. Yeah, as a guard coming off the bench, 6 rebounds and playing 27 minutes off the bench. Guy's incredibly effective. And as a guard, he's always getting the ground for loose balls. He's always a tough defender. Now, he'll make some boneheaded plays, passing here and there. But, as a coach, you'll live with that. It's because he takes his effort everywhere. And in the Florida games, Florida National, Florida Atlantic, he'd come off the bench and just bring energy. And that's what you want as a coach, someone who's going to come off the bench and just bring instant energy. So when you get that type of production from Johnson, who's obviously the more skilled offensive player, and David Simmons, who's the tough-minded, very hard-nosed defender, he's just going to bring his energy and effort 100% every game.
Yeah.
You're hard to beat. You're awfully hard to beat. You add depth, and in a conference where your best teams are Western Kentucky and Old Dominion, Marshall, Louisiana Tech occasionally, not this year because they're 1-4 in conference play. But what's made Western Kentucky so good is that they've got depth now, some more depth. They didn't have much going into the season. They had a player who's just now ruled eligible, who was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Guys play really well.
Yeah.
And that just makes them more dangerous. So you see what adding depth can do.
Oh, yeah.
In this conference. And they have a big one Well, it's big because you don't want to overlook Southern Miss.
Yeah.
No.
Because the big one will be next week against Western Kentucky on the road.
Yeah.
Especially if Western Kentucky takes care of business on Saturday.
And they both still come in, hopefully, maybe undefeated. On top of that, it's your rival.
Yeah.
But even before that though, they got Marshall.
Yeah.
So they got two. After this, they got two big road games. After Saturday against Southern Miss, if they take care of business, I'm pretty sure they're favored in that win. I don't know what's the spread on it.
Against
Southern Miss.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're favored to win that. Probably pretty, not big, but to get some separation. Probably like kind of what they did last night.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of close first half, and then they just kind of pull away towards the second half with defense and grabbing rebounds and converting easy buckets. So they do the same thing against Southern Miss, and then they got two big games next week on the road.
Yeah.
Because you're going to Marshall and to Western Kentucky. So.
It's like you said earlier, man. It's Latte, they haven't kind of lived up to what we expected, but you gotta get those conference wins in, and so you do not want to overlook Southern Miss because you don't want to. Like you said, anyone. You don't want to lose a game that you should have won, especially in conference with the teams that are good this year because. One loss could be the difference between, seeding for the tournament, being regular season champs. Yeah, seeding. The way it's looking right now, seeding is going to be really, really, really big coming up in this tournament. So you want to get all the conference W's you can. So there's no time to overlook anybody. Everybody's the same. So you just gotta go out there and play ball.
So I just feel the conference is deeper this year.
Yeah.
Marshall, I don't feel like was this good last year, even though they made it to the conference final.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they were this good last year. Western Kentucky, I feel like, is better, even though they kind of at the start of the season were only able to play 7 or 8 guys. I feel like they're much better this year than they were last year.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech, even though they're 1-4 in conference play, still has a lot of talent on that team. I love how Jacoby Boykins plays. He had a pretty good game last night. He finished 4 of 10 from the 3-point line, but was 1 point 4 of 8.
Yeah.
From 3 of 5. He had 3 of his first 5 threes. I feel like he is a mid-major version of Rodney Hood.
Yeah.
In a sense, and I feel like he really made a difference he kept Louisiana Tech in the game a lot last night.
Yeah.
With his shooting. But this is probably the deepest the conference has been in a long time. So the more you can win, the more you kind of bolster your conference resume. You can have a better chance of getting an at-large bid.
Yeah, it's a chance that the conference USA could possibly get 2.
Yeah.
Depending on
everything
what happens, fall into place, it could get 2.
On Saturday, of course, we were playing Southern Miss. Western Kentucky goes at Charlotte. Charlotte's 5-10, 1-3 in the conference. They fired Coach Mark Price, former Cleveland Cavalier great, a week or 2 into the season.
Okay.
So that's a very winnable game for Western Kentucky. So there's a really good chance that both of these teams, MTSU and Western Kentucky, are coming in undefeated.
Yeah.
In their showdown on January 20th. So that's gonna be a whole lot of fun to watch too. But I like us to be Southern Miss pretty good.
Yeah. Like I said, you can't sleep on them. They just lost to at UAB yesterday by 9, 86 to 75. So it was a loss, but you lost to UAB by 9 points. It was one of the better teams in the conference. So that kind of just shows you on the road, and shows you that even though their record might not be, they're 509-9, but it's definitely not a team to look past.
Yeah, there'll be no pushovers either. Last night, Southern Miss was trailing by 22 with 8 minutes left. It ended up getting within 8, as close as 8, with about minute 43 left. And doing that on the road is huge. They have a lot of fight. They don't roll over. And non-conference play, they only lost Mississippi State at home by 6.
Yeah.
Mississippi State's not a bad team.
No.
They beat Troy by 18 points, and Troy was a tournament team last year. They were the defending Sun Belt champions.
Yeah.
And of course, they beat Texas San Antonio by 10 at home.
Yeah.
It's something that Louisiana Tech didn't do, and they beat UTEP by 10. home as well. Yeah. And their only conference losses are on the road to Marshall, on the road to Western Kentucky, who are outside of, and UAB, which are the top, outside of MTSU, the top 3 teams in the conference. Yeah. So, the record's a little deceiving, but I'll go MTSU by 13 or 14 points.
And I'm sorry, they lost to UAB by 11. I'm sorry, they lost it. But, I think MT will come back and get the W. I get it into 10-point win on Saturday. Come Saturday night versus Southern Miss.
Martha, how about you? Who you got in this one?
I got MT pulling this one out too as well. I give them probably about 12, 13. Like I said, I think it's going to be similar to what happened last night. It'll be close, first half maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think after a while, just our depth and the talented players that we have on our roster, it'll start to kind of just pull away slightly away from Southern Miss.
Yeah. Keep playing defense the way we are. We can beat them a lot more than that.
Beat anyone. You hold them to 57 points. There's a lot of teams you can beat. Hold them playing defense like that. So. Well, the men getting their 4th conference win of the season. The women ended up playing out their first the other night on the road against Texas San Antonio.
Yes, sir.
That was a big time win for them. Now Texas San Antonio is 0-3 in the conference. They're 2-13 overall. So, but at the same time, there are no easy wins in conference play, especially when you're missing Alex Johnson as your leading scorer.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to get everyone you can get until she can get healthy. If she's coming back this year.
Yeah,
she's been gone most of the season. Of course, they shot the ball a little better from 3-point range. Jess Laura was 4 of 5 from beyond the arc and was the leading scorer, 15 points. One of the things that I really noticed that the women's team didn't do as well when we mentioned them last week when they lost at Western Kentucky was their assist to turnover ratio. I think was 5 assists to 18 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Something like that. It wasn't as bad against Texas San Antonio, but it was 9 assists, 16 turnovers. That's an improvement, and it's an improvement playing far away on the road.
Yeah.
I don't care how good these athletes are. Anytime you're playing that far away from home, it's as you saw with the men playing the 2 games in Florida against FIU and FAU against teams that are obviously nowhere near the talent level they are. Mm-hmm. It's being that far away from home and in a true road game that makes a difference. And being able to win in San Antonio against this team the way they did, 162-47.
Yeah.
If you hold them to 47 points and you win by double digits, that's huge for their confidence.
Oh yeah, I mean just like the men's, the women's got a good production off the bench. They had 23 bench points. They had 20 points off of turnovers and 13 second chance points. So they all playing hard-nosed basketball on the bench, coming in and contributing. They shot. They got to the free throw line 26 times, which is a very real good sign. It's always a good sign when you get into the free throw line and able to knock them down. They were 16 for 26 from the free throw line. The MT shoots a lot of threes. Women's basketball shoots a lot of threes, and they were a little bit off. I mean, they shot 38%. 8 for 21, and you would think that MT would shoot better. I know that the women's team they have some girls that can shoot the basketball. So I think they'll get that back on track and be able to shoot better from 3-point range. But
I like the way you mentioned, with the free throw. That means they're more aggressive. They shot a worse percentage throughout the whole game. They only shot 37% for the game.
Yeah.
UTSA shot 39%, and they were still able to pull out a win. Mm-hmm. That's when your shots aren't falling, you can still win by double digits. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
Going in the conference play, 3-point shooting they didn't shoot as well. Even though they got to the line 26 attempts, they only hit 16.
Yeah.
Shooting 61.5% isn't going to win you much in conference season later when you're playing better competition, but it is a very encouraging sign that the effort's there, the aggression is there to get to the line that many times. I believe UTSA shot 26 free throws as well, and they shot 57%, only hitting 15 of their 26 compared to us, 16-26.
Exactly, and I know we've us as Middle Tennessee State fans, we've probably been spoiled with how well, especially men's and women's, the basketball team has played.
Yeah.
So I know some people might be a little worried, like, well, dang, just 1-2, just their first conference win. Well, like you say, you gotta understand. One, what we lost last year.
Yeah.
With Ty and a couple other players, and with Alex not being here, not playing right now, and they just got freshman Kara Meadows last night playing. It was her first game.
Park Range native.
Yeah, this was Miss Basketball Class A last year, so and she put up 4 points in 5 minutes. So
yeah.
we kind of you can get her going after a while.
Yeah.
You get Alex back, and if they can find a stride, of course, and if Abby and Jess they continue to shoot the way that they shoot, and you get those points in the paint from Alex and Gabby and Rebecca, they get those they're hard hustle plays, and then you get productive bench points from Charity Savage and a couple other players, and this is still a good looking team now.
Yeah.
Is it compared to maybe like previous teams in the past? Not quite sure yet, but we don't know because the team technically hasn't been fully healthy all season. We haven't had a full Lady Raider squad, so we don't know. But I agree with you guys. Overall, I love the effort that they show. Numbers might not look like looking at it. Well, say if you shoot 30-something% from the field, you miss 10 free throws. You still had 16 turnovers, was it?
Yeah, 16.
Then it still kind of sounds like, well, that sounds like an L, but based on who you play, you still managed to still get the W off of those mistakes. So just imagine when you kind of clean up some more of those mistakes, and instead of going 16 for 26, you go 21 for 26 or 22 for 26 from the free throw line. Then we're talking about maybe you possibly win this by 25, 30 points instead of just 15.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is the turnovers actually kind of kept UTSA in the game, because although yes they kind of never led the game, it was still pretty close. It was pretty close until that second half kind of started, and then they pulled away. So I like what effort we show from the women's, and it's always important to get that first conference win of the season. Who knows, this could possibly start something here going on. I know they have
UTEP coming
next,
up,
which they're a pretty good team as well. I know they were one of the best teams last year in Conference USA as well. So that's a big test. So I would look at it as, and I'm pretty sure Coach Insel was telling them this: great win, guys. I'm glad we got this first conference win out the way. But let's 24-hour rule. Let's celebrate it for tonight. But tomorrow, let's get back focused. Let's watch some film. Let's correct some mistakes, because UTEP I think is 11-5 on the season.
Yeah, 11-5.
So, one of the
2-1 in conference.
So they're up there as one of the good teams in conference play too. So you can find clean up those mistakes. Get a little bit more efficient in shooting from the free throw line and from the field in general, and they could possibly get UTEP. I know they kind of struggled with that team a couple of seasons, but it's still early in conference play, so I'm not too worried about what's going on with the women's just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, you got UTEP on Saturday at UTEP. Kind of round out the road tour in Texas. But I mean, if they beat UTEP, like you said, they're 11-5 2-1 in conference. This would be a big confidence booster.
That'd be huge. To steal a win too, because then then you're 2-2 in the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
UTEP's 2-2.
Yeah.
You're up there. You gain games.
Yeah, because there are 4 teams in the conference that are tied at 2-1 in the conference play. So like you said, you get the 2-2. Now you move yourself up there. This could be a real big conference booster.
You're part of the party then.
Yeah,
you're part of that group that's up there at the upper echelon of your
so now
conference.
You can kind of you come back home, kind of reset, and okay, now we kind of we get back in our groove. Let's go ahead and
exactly, because if you just looking at it, you get that one, and then your next 4 games you have North Texas, Southern Miss, Marshall, and Charlotte, and only 2 out of those 4 teams are sub 500 or over 500, and they're pretty much even right there with Middle Tennessee, and that's North Texas and Southern Miss. So if you steal that, and then you can reel off maybe 3 or 4 wins before you get into it with Louisiana Tech, and then you get the Florida teams again, and then you come back in February and you get that rematch with Western, and you get the rematch in February with Western and UAB. So you can try to reel off some more wins, win the next 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, and who knows, like when you get Alex back and then you get that groove going,
Yeah, right.
Because the key, I think, the first 3, 4 seeds get a
They get a bye. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be one of those top 4 seeds.
Exactly. And that's what I was getting ready to say. Like Martin said, we have had a healthy lady Blue Raiders team yet. Mm-hmm. Trying to get everybody back healthy and get everybody back. We said one of the girls just played the first game. She had 4 points in 5 minutes. So you get everybody back. So right now it's kind of just holding on. Keep the ship afloat.
Carrie Meadows came back to me huge too. Yeah, she just gives you size and more depth too.
Yeah, exactly. So you keep it afloat. Then once you get everybody back, we go ahead and we hit it. With everything we got, and all you got to do, get one of those top 4 seeds, get you a bye, and make another run at the conference championship.
And now the key to beating UTEP too will be, because when you're playing on the road, it's defense should always travel.
Yeah.
Shooting doesn't always travel from gym to gym. Sometimes you can always have off shooting nights. You should never have off defensive effort nights.
Oh yeah.
They forced 23 turnovers against Texas San Antonio. If they can do that at UTEP, they should win the game, because it did help that Jess Loro and Abby Sism combined for shoot 60% from 3-point range.
Oh yeah.
That helps out a lot too, but that's not always a given. That's not always guaranteed. Even though they're both really great 3-point shooters, that's never a given. So if they can keep up that defensive effort and hold UTEP to under 50 or force 23 turnovers, holding under 40% shooting, then you're talking about having a really good chance to win, and that could really now you're talking about being on a winning streak.
Yeah. And I think with both these teams, the men's and the women's, really, they hit a little rough patch or whatever here coming around or whatever.
Adversity.
Yeah, you hit a little adversity, but what we could take away from both of these teams, like we said, both teams are playing defense. Both teams are playing very good defense. So as long as you continue to play defense, your offense will come. I hear a lot of coaches say, defense turns into offense on the basketball court. You play good defense, you be able to get a stop and get out and run and get some easy buckets, and then all of a sudden, now we're in the rhythm. So both teams are playing good defense right now. So as long as they can keep that up, especially on the road, like you said, Elijah, they can keep that up, MT basketball will be just fine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Big game this week and big game tomorrow for the local professional football team. Your Tennessee Titans face an uphill battle going into Foxborough, where seemingly no one wins.
Yeah.
And the Patriots seemingly haven't lost since the Revolutionary War.
Seriously.
They're 13-point underdogs in a playoff game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen a point spread that is that large in a divisional round playoff game, on a wild card playoff game.
Yeah.
It's seemingly like the Titans have no chance.
That's kind of a smack in the face.
Yeah.
I'm not even a Titans fan.
You're kind of saying,
especially the run defense that they have.
Yeah, you're kind of saying they're not going to show up,
especially considering what they did to the Chiefs in Kansas City. Now the teams are a little different now. They were in September when Kansas City marched into Foxborough and backhanded the Patriots in week 1.
Oh yeah.
But still, going on the road and winning in Kansas City carries a lot of weight. However, Vegas doesn't think so. What are y'all's thoughts going into the game outside of it's Mission Impossible for Mariota and the dudes?
Well, I mean, the guys have a chip on their shoulder. It's just kind of like last week. Majority of the country didn't think they would beat the Chiefs.
Majority of us.
Yeah, majority of us didn't think they would beat the Chiefs. And it's funny. I know we talked about it actually in our group message, how when we talked last week, well, we need this and this to happen, and that happened for them to win in the game last week against the Chiefs. Now, my thing is I don't think the only difference is with last week and this week is I don't think Josh McDaniels will, steer right. If the run game was going over there, I don't think he would steer right from a run game or whatever that's working with them at that point, like Andy Reid and Matt Nagy did last week with Kansas City. That's the only thing. But I think they hang in there really pretty tough with the Patriots. I don't necessarily think that the Patriots just run away with it on the Titans just because those guys pretty much majority of the guys on these Titan teams are guys who might have been overlooked coming in out of college or might have not worked out pretty well at one of their former teams or didn't get much of a shot in their former teams, and now this is a spot where they can get that spotlight, and the whole lot of people say, well, they don't belong and this, that, and the third. And, I saw that Skip Bayless, kind of was trying to throw a jab at KB.
Yeah,
what
I
he
saw
said
that
about
too.
Tom Brady. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm not supposed to come in here just because, show too much respect to this team and to Tom Brady. We put on our pants legs one at a time, just like they do.
Yeah.
We're not gonna come in here and be afraid of because pretty much now the Patriots they're right there with your Cowboys, your 49ers, your Steelers, your Pack. They're the history of it. We're not gonna be afraid of because you got 5 championships and however many seasons that you've been here and been to 7, 8 Super Bowls and you've been to the AFC. I can't remember the last time the Patriots wasn't in the AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah,
They're seeking like their 7th straight appearance.
Yeah, so I don't even know the last time they haven't been in one. But those guys, that's playing for the Titans, they're not afraid of that. I mean, they just left from one historic place and got a win there. I don't think they would be too afraid to come into Foxborough and do the same thing. Yeah. Now, I think it'll be more difficult than how it was in Kansas City. Also looming in with the little nugget Cam dropped last week about how they haven't won there in the playoffs in Kansas City in a long time. But it's rare that a New England Patriots team loses in Foxborough, especially in the playoffs. But I think the Titans are going to give them all that they can handle.
Yeah. And it's like you said, man. The Titans, they're coming and playing with house money, man. No one thinks the Titans are going to win. Mm-hmm. No one's picking the Titans. So I heard. I was watching.
No one thought that they was going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really.
How the Jaguars were playing that they would knock them out, and that the Chargers or the Ravens were still.
Yeah, exactly.
So nobody thought they would be here.
So no one's picking them out. I was watching First Take yesterday morning, and Stephen A. Smith was saying. Something about the Patriots have a bye week this week. He was like they have a bye week, so we're now it's just the big game in the AFC is the Steelers and the Jaguars because the Patriots are going to take care of business with the Titans. So the Titans coming in with house money, you can come in there and play loose. The one thing that I think the Titans need to do is they need to stick to that run game. Mm-hmm. New England is on defense; they're averaging giving up 114 yards a game, and Derrick Henry just ran for 156. So they need to stick with that run game, play. I think continue to play the game, play smash mouth football, hard nosed football, run the ball, and keep Tom Brady off the field. And when you're on the field and if you're going to ball control, you have to score points. And when I say score points, touchdowns. You can't kick field goals against the Patriots because you kick too many of them, and they, you kick a field goal here, a field goal there, and they come down and get 2 touchdowns. All of a sudden, you have a whole different, you have a totally different game. So, ball control, and you got to get the ball in the end zone. Marcus Mariota needs to continue to make good decisions with the football, not turn the ball over, and not give Tom Brady any extra possessions. Any extra time with the ball. And the defense, man, the defense has been playing very well those last games. You saw in the second half how the defense played. Yeah, the adjustments that the defense made. And Dick LeBeau has those guys playing very well. Mm-hmm. They can get a pass rush with Brian Rackpo and some of those other guys. I think they can make some noise. The Titans, man, just really come in and play loose.
Yeah, the offensive side of the ball too. One of the things I'm looking for is how Mariota completes passes. Yeah. Because when you're throwing incomplete passes and you're stopping the clock, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because you want to keep Tom Brady off the field
Yeah.
as long as possible. And you want to keep your defense off the field as long as possible because you have a great defense and you don't want them to be tired before halftime.
Yeah.
And that would really put you at disadvantage when you're trying to pull, off an upset like this.
Yeah.
Your best weapon is, melting the clock in a run game. One of the things the Patriots do best is taking what you do best, taking it away from you, and making you win using other factors.
Yeah.
And a lot of people speculated coming into this game that the one thing Bill Belichick's focusing on is Delaney Walker.
Yeah.
They're talking about that on 104.5 yesterday, that Delaney Walker is the focal point of the Patriots defense. So if the Patriots take away Delaney Walker in your Trubisky or your Mike Mularkey, who are you looking for to really pick up the slack in the offense?
It has to be Rashard Matthews, in my opinion. I know New England secondary they have improved, but I mean it's pretty much kind of just like last week. You're gonna get those opportunities again for possibly one-on-one man coverage.
Yep.
Now New England they'll switch it up and mix in some zone because Matt Patricia is a pretty good defensive coordinator, so he does mix it up. But it has to be Rashard Matthews and also. Even if it doesn't work their first couple of possessions, I agree with you, Xavier. Just continue to try to keep running the ball.
Yeah.
Whether it's just Derrick Henry by himself, I don't know if he will play by. Maybe it's a chance that maybe DeMarco Murray plays.
I think they ruled him out.
Is he out now?
Yeah, he's ruled out.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's hey. Deuce, man. You Heisman Trophy winner.
They can get us some.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Get some help, run some read options.
You could basically, show, management and everyone not to say, hey, DeMarco's career is done or anything like that. But maybe I'm the lead man now. Whatever. This is your chance. But I think like a guy like Rashard Matthews has to step up.
Yeah.
I also would like for them to use Tywan Taylor just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think his speed could affect the game. We're all witnesses of how he was playing here in Western Kentucky. We know how good he was. I'm kind of liking him more than Eric Decker because at times he made a big catch last week, but for a while it was. He wasn't catching anything. I seriously couldn't remember the last time he had caught a pass, and not to be funny, like I really couldn't remember like the last time he had caught a pass.
Yeah.
So once again, it's on the receiving core pretty much because they're gonna take away Delaney Walker for sure. That's what their main focus is on, and probably after that, it's shutting down Derrick Henry in the run game. So it's gonna be on the receivers. Can they win their battle against the secondary? And if they can do that, Mariota makes great decisions. Besides from sometimes this season, like he normally does make good decisions, they have a chance.
They're going to utilize that short passing game too because you want to give Mariota confidence to start. You don't want him incompleting his first 3 or 4 passes because he's throwing 10, 15-yard passes. They're going to look to throw short. Yeah. And that being said, who are they going to look for short? Guys like Eric Decker. Rashard Matthews, they can't drop those balls. Yeah. If you get drops from Eric Decker in this, you're stopping the clock. You're giving the Patriots a breather, and it goes back to just completing passes and running the clock. And you can't run the ball every play. Yeah. You're going to have to throw the ball. You're going to have to keep the defense on your toes. So one thing they're going to have to do is just really utilize the short passing game. Yeah. And when you drop passes, the short passing game is useless.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Martin. The entire receiver corps has to step up with Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia trying to take away Delaney Walker. You're definitely going to get one-on-one matchups with Rashard Matthews, Eric Decker, Corey Davis. I want to see Corey Davis try to get Marcus try to get the ball to Corey Davis. That's a big guy. 6'3", 210, 215. Rashard Matthews is 6'4". So you got some big guys out there. You try to get.
You didn't even mention Jonnu Smith. That's another tight end there that could be used.
Exactly.
Delaney Walker's taken out of the game. Yeah. He's going to really have to step up.
So these receivers, it's going to be on these receivers. Can they make plays? Can they win their one-on-one battles and just make catches? Keep those drives alive on third down. And that's another. You gotta keep it in third and manageable. You gotta keep it third. This offense really isn't built to run. Really, any offense isn't really just so much built to complete third, get 3rd and 12s, 3rd and 13s, 3rd and 10s. So you keep them about 3rd and manageable where Mike Mular can say, okay, we can run it here, we can pass it, we can go RPO, read option, we can do whatever we want to do. The playbook is wide open. So you want to kind of keep it like that. And another thing I think that could be a big factor in this game, Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan coming over from the Patriots last year, being able to kind of tell those guys, especially on the defensive side, what the Patriots like to do, like what Tom Brady likes to do. He knows Tom, he knows Josh McDaniels having been there. So his knowledge of how the Patriots do things, I think, could also be an advantage for the Titans.
And John Robinson working in the Patriots front office now, being Titans GM, he has some stuff he can share in terms of how the Patriots run everything.
Yeah.
Defensively, what they've talked about, of course, this all started like on 104.5 is that the Patriots when they're on offense and Titans on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to try to take away Jarrell Casey. Now Jarrell Casey's been facing double teams all year long, and teams have tried to zero in on him all year long. So Xavier mentioned Logan Ryan's going to have to step up and take a leadership role and really use his knowledge of how the Patriots offense works as he's practiced against these guys his entire career. Martha, who would you like to see on the defensive end really step up and take some of the slack off of Jarrell Casey?
Pretty much that whole defensive line, but besides him, that's what Brian Arakpo and others. Definitely, they have to get pressure on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The blueprint is there from the Miami Dolphins game when they played the Patriots. When that's not even that, just you look at any previous playoff game, regular season game, to where Brady has struggled. It's when you've gotten pressure on him and you rough him up. Even you can look at even from the first half of last year's Super Bowl, you get some pressure on him to where he can't find the time to get it out quickly to Amendola and to the rest of the receiving core. Yeah. Now the thing is, this year instead of like last year's playoffs, he has Gronk. So my that's another thing I'm kind of looking at as well is who would probably match up with him. And honestly, I would like to see KB see if he can get up on Gronk, and because I know he's not gonna back down from anybody. He'll be willing to step up one-on-one with anybody. So, but most likely, I'm looking at the entire defensive line, that whole front seven, Eric Walden, Brian Arakpo, to get some type of pressure on Brady. You can't let him just sit there and pick you apart. Let him complete those short, easy passes or those screens to the running backs, because just about every running back on that Patriots roster can catch the ball out the backfield. You don't know, it could be Rex Burkhead, Deion Lewis, James White, anybody. I mean, so definitely the front seven. Well, all 11 guys got to be ready to play, but definitely that front seven and that defensive line get some pressure on Brady and try to get it without necessarily having to blitz. Still stay back and let your linebackers and your secondary play in some zone, and let them handle their responsibility. So definitely Arakpo and Walden try to get some pressure right there up there with that front four on Brady. If they do that, they can. I'm pretty sure they have. They looked at that Miami's Dolphins tape. You see what kind of pressure you can get on Brady and make him flustered, and you see him and whoever, McDaniels or whatever, yelling at each other on the sidelines. That's what you want. And if you do that, then it's like, we're in this.
You want to cause that disruption. And for me, one of the things I look at too is the Titans linebacking core, because the linebackers are going to be the ones who are going to have to deal with the Patriots' biggest mismatches, and that's their running backs, and they're going to have to help with Gronk at tight end. Everyone's got that's going to be a team effort in stopping Gronk, which is much easier said than done, because people talk about him being one of the more dominant tight ends in the history of the game, the seasons he's had in the last couple of years. And that being said, the Patriots have won Super Bowls without Gronk being healthy and playing. Yeah. So there are more mismatches, especially the running back. The Patriots won the Super Bowl last year with James White, a running back, breaking a receptions record in the Super Bowl. So it's hard to stop this Patriots offense. So you need everyone on defense to just be all in get stops, and of course, if I'm Mark, the thing I want to focus on is just moving the ball in offense and make sure that defensive side of the ball and the mismatches that they're going to face don't have as many opportunities and time to kill you in this game.
And I mean, actually, we're talking about the running backs. Mike Gillislee, Rex Burkhead, and James White are all questionable right now with some injuries. Mike Gillislee and Rex Burkhead with a knee, and James White with an ankle injury. They've been
the Deion Lewis show.
Yeah, they've been
knees and ankles are important when it comes to running backs.
Yeah, all of them have been limited during practice. Some of them have been practicing limited during the week for practice. So, like I said, it might be the Deion Lewis show this week, but I'm pretty sure at least one of those guys, is going to play. If not, all three of them will be ready. But that matchup is going to be the matchup between the running backs and the linebackers and Gronk and whoever they decide to put on Gronk, whether it be Jonathan Cyprien or KB, is going to be huge. It's going to be huge for the Titans.
We haven't mentioned Brandon Cooks yet.
No,
he's an all-pro type receiver.
I'm pretty sure either. I'm pretty sure that they'll put a Dory on him. Match him up with foot speed. Mm-hmm. So Adoree Jackson will probably follow him around. And I think what the Titans will try to do, I think they'll try to put Cyprien on Gronk and allow KB to be back there and kind of roam and stuff. And let him roam. So if we have a one-on-one situation where it's Gronk and Cyprien, if he can make a play, KB will be around to get a turnover and stuff. So
and I like that matchup with putting Adoree on Brandon Cooks, because even though Tyreek Hill had a couple of a lot of catches, big thing, but he necessarily couldn't run away from anyone because Adoree was right there with him.
Exactly.
He might have let him get a couple slant routes or whatever, but he couldn't just catch it and run away with it. So that's definitely the matchup to see there. On defense, the Titans have they have the players equipped to match up with New England. It's just gonna come down to execution, and also just we keep referring back to the offensive side of the ball to just ball control and keep Brady off the sideline so they don't have to be too much in those predicaments to where they won't have to worry about it so much. So
you can't turn the ball over. I can't stress that enough. You cannot turn the ball over against the Patriots. You can't give Brady extra possessions. Yeah. If anything, you want to take them away.
They're good enough on their own. They don't need our Titans' help in giving them chances to win. Yep. So with all this being said, starting with Xavier, who you got and by how much?
I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I think the Titans will. I think it's gonna be a good game overall. I think the Titans will put up a good fight. I don't think that New England will cover that spread, though. I'll go with a New England win 27-20. I'll go 27-20.
Okay. Yeah. So Xavier thinks they keep it close. Martha, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with New England as well. I don't think they cover the spread. I say 24-20 New England.
Oh, you guys both have them keeping it close. I got 31-16 New England.
Yeah.
On the mere basis that the New England defense will bend, but they're not going to break.
Yeah.
I feel like Ryan Succop's going to get his fair share, and he's going to kick his field goals, but the difference would be the Patriots are scoring touchdowns instead of settling for field goals. So I still like the Patriots by about a good score, 31-16 around there. I feel like they do cover. So before we go, I'll do some rapid fire, predictions for the rest of these playoff games because it's crunch time in the NFL, man. And it's almost Super Bowl time. The other matchup in the AFC, starting with Xavier, who you got? Jags at Steelers.
Me and Elijah were talking about this earlier, and it's kind of like I don't know if you heard the quote from Mike Mitchell, but he was just he basically paraphrasing. He said that we'll play them in hell, we'll play them in Haiti, we'll play them in New England. We're going to beat the Patriots. He said that earlier this week.
Yeah.
And I've kind of heard throughout this week, analysts and stuff, talking about the Steelers-Patriots matchup. And it's kind of like, everybody is looking past Jacksonville, who beat the Steelers 30-9.
Like a drum.
Yeah, like earlier this year. So I'm pretty sure, other guys in the locker room aren't looking past the Jaguars. But it's you kind of get that sense of, like, the Steelers are already like, man, we got to get this, you know, we got to beat the Patriots. We got to beat the Patriots. So the Steelers are favored by 7 points. I don't think they'll cover that. I'm seeing. I think the Steelers will win, but I'm seeing something maybe along the lines of like maybe 24-20, 24-21, something like that. The Jacksonville's defense in that run game is going to be the difference. Jacksonville's they forced Big Ben to 5 interceptions the last time they played. So the Steelers look like they're looking 1 week ahead, and this is a trap game for the Steelers, man. I don't know. If I was a Steelers fan, I wouldn't know how to feel because Jacksonville is dangerous because of that defense.
For sure, Marthany.
Yes, Jacksonville is dangerous with the defense, forcing Big Ben into 5 picks. Two of them went for touchdowns.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette was running pretty hard, but at this right now, Fournette hasn't been running like how he ran back in week 5. I think how many yards did he have last week? I think Blake Bortles had more rushing yards.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Bortles led the team in rushing yards.
That's scary.
Yeah,
that's kind of scary. Now I think the Steelers do win, but honestly, I think it's kind of similar to what happened with the Bills and Jaguars last week. I think it's going to be real low scoring.
Yeah.
I say Jacksonville holds up his end and not let. I don't think Steelers even get over 21. I think they may get like 17 or 20, but I don't know which Blake Bortles is going to come to play.
Yeah,
is it going to be the one who played against the Seahawks, or are we going to see the one who we see twice a year against the Titans?
Yeah.
What he did. Even then against the Steelers, he necessarily didn't have a good game. It's just the defense pretty much helped him out, and he had a run game. So I'm not quite sure. There's week 5 still, September, October. It's January up there in Pittsburgh, and I think they find a way. But I think it's low scoring. I say 17. I say 17 to. I guess I'll give the Jaguars a touchdown. So I say 17 to 10.
17-10.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm going with Pittsburgh, and I mean barely.
Yeah.
This is might even go to overtime just because they are overlooking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for who Jacksonville's quarterback is, we're talking about the Jaguars being the next best team in the AFC because they're just more complete than the Steelers are. This in terms of defensive efficiency and how the offense is built. This is built differently than Pittsburgh, but the offense is still efficient despite the quarterback play at times because the run game is that good. You have Leonard Fournette and Chris Ivory will give you some quality touches as well, and that he has weapons. Even Allen Robinson hurt. The Jags still have speed on the outside. So I still like Pittsburgh, but I think this thing goes to overtime.
Okay.
Pittsburgh wins 16-13.
Okay.
In OT. I'm calling OT.
Yeah.
On this one. And the NFC, sitting at a table with 2 Falcons fans. Falcons are on the road to play the Tom Petty doppelganger and Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles. So are the Falcons, are they pulling this off? They're going to be a wild card NFC finalist?
I think so, man. I said it earlier this week. I'm trying to, not trying to get ahead of myself and not trying to, like you said, it's getting close to Super Bowl time, and I'm starting to get that itch, and it's like, man, we looking good, but I don't want to, I don't want to say anything. Just take it week by week. I think the biggest difference, obviously, is Carson Wentz being out. That is the biggest difference with the Eagles team, and also for us, our defense has been playing great. I think since like week 15, we've ranked in like the top 10 like points per game, third down efficiency, yards per game, and all that. So the defense has been playing very well. I think we're gonna have to find a run game against that Eagles front 7, man. Especially those front 4, Fletcher Cox and those guys, man. They get after it, man. And that rush defense, that's the number 1 rush defense in the league. So we're gonna have to find a way to run the ball, and I'm pretty sure we'll see how the game goes. We don't know who's going to be on Julio, but obviously, you want to get Julio Jones the ball. And I think that's where we're going to be able to exploit the Eagles' defense, those corners versus our receivers. I'm pretty sure that they'll bring Malcolm Jenkins down and probably cover tight end Austin Hooper or one of those running backs, whether it be Devontae Freeman or Tevin Coleman. But I think if we can exploit those matchups out there on the outside and loosen up that middle, I think we can win the game. But it's kind of like last week when we played the Rams. Our run game, we have to continue to run the ball, kind of like with the Titans. We have to continue to run the ball and stay true with the run game. Don't go away from it, because in that first half against the Rams, it really wasn't working, but we kept doing it. And then that second half, all of a sudden, we're breaking off 8-yard runs, 9-yard runs, then turn into 15-yard runs, 15-yard runs. So we, keep running the ball, don't go away from it. Matt continue to play good, keep the ball on harm's way, make good decisions. And our defense, the way we've been playing, man, I think our defense can hold up. We first, want to stop the run. Obviously, you probably want to try to force Nick Foles to beat you. So stopping the run is going to be critical with Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount in the backfield. But I had the Falcons winning, going up to Philly and avenging that loss, that 2004 NFC Championship game loss to the Eagles. I had the Falcons winning this game, by a score of 28-17.
2017. This is for you, Mike Vick. How about you, Marthany?
It's crazy. Like, last week when we were picking games, I was so worried because with the Rams offense and everything like that. So I was trying to not so much trying to be so much of a homer, because I deep down I was like, of course I want my team to win, but then I just thought maybe they would find a way to get Gurley going and use different ways, but we shut them down. So I don't know, like the way the defense has been playing though lately, I think they continue that on, and of course the big thing is Xavier already hit on it. Just continue to run the ball. Mo and Julio, they get their catches. I mean, I didn't realize it until like towards the end until the touchdown. I was like, dang, Julio, 9 receptions. He was even getting targeted that much. It seemed like it was a real quiet 9 to 9 before. It was just like, quiet, that's what you need. And a lot of people this year has been kind of talking bad about Matty, and the drop off between this year and last year, but that's the regular season. I don't remember the last time Matt Ryan's thrown an interception in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's even knock on wood. But that's even back when, before we even made the run last year, he's always been pretty much has had good games in the playoffs, and I just think that'll be the difference. Also, even if we don't convert touchdowns, which I would like for us to. Yeah. Matt Bryant has been automatic as well.
Yeah.
Matt Bryant has been automatic as well. So I think this time I'm gonna go ahead and go with the squad. I think the Falcons will win it too. Just Nick Foles he's not getting it there enough for me. Them not having Carson Wentz is the huge difference in this. Mm-hmm. I like us as well. I'm gonna say 23-17. Yeah. I think we get a couple touchdowns, couple field goals from Matt Bryant. I think the defense find a way to force Nick Foles into making bad decisions. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, the link isn't Veteran Stadium, so it's that home field thing is a little bit different. Now, don't get me wrong, the crowd is going to be tough. I think Philly has the roughest crowd out of anybody in the NFL.
Philly's still Philly.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But, you're a 6 seed, so it's going to be a road test wherever you go, Road Warriors. And I just think that, Atlanta gets it done. I think the weather will be decent enough to where it won't affect too much of anything else with the offensive wise. But I like it. I like Atlanta winning by 6.
All right, yeah. Both of you guys have Atlanta. I think if Philadelphia's going to win, they need a big game out of Carson Wentz. And as we all know, Carson Wentz won't be playing. He will not be participating on Saturday. So, I think it's Saturday, right?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Both one seeds play Saturday. Yeah.
So, I got Atlanta 24-14. It's because, Nick Foles isn't 27 touchdown, 2 interception Nick Foles when Chip Kelly was there.
Yeah.
He is a good backup. He is not a great starter.
Yeah.
And I think that will make the world of difference when it comes to the playoffs. So I like Atlanta to avenge Mike Vick.
Oh, and I don't even know, they got some guys hurt, and that's questionable. Brandon Graham, the defensive end for the Eagles, is out. Jalen Mills, the corner, is out.
Oh, it's out.
Linebacker Donnell Ellerby, he's questionable. Sidney Jones, cornerback, rookie quarterback from Washington, he's questionable. So
Did not know Graham and
I didn't know that either. So the Falcons coming in, the Falcons coming in with no injury. So I mean it's looking pretty good, man. But you got to go play the game.
Gotta play it. And the last one was probably the closest one of the weekend.
Yeah.
Saints at Vikings.
This is honestly the hardest game to pick. In the other games, you kind of, there's, you got, with Jacksonville Steelers, it's like, keep really trusting Blake Bortles. And the Patriots Titans is like, it's Tom Brady versus Marcus Mariota. And just the Patriots pedigree is kind of like, you kind of know how to lean with that. And the Falcons Eagles, Carson Wentz definitely not playing. So it's like, Nick Foles, can you trust him? This game right here, I'm talking about an explosive offense in the Saints versus a tough, hard-nosed, hit you in the mouth defense in the Minnesota Vikings. And Case Keenum has been playing well. He's been playing well all year. The offense has, me and Elijah talked about it earlier. You lose your quarterback and your running back.
Yeah.
Yet you're the number 2 seed in the NFC at 13-3. So that hats off to Mike Zimmer for holding the ship down. But man, I think the biggest key in this game is going to be Alvin Kamara, and whether or not the Vikings can stop him, because if he's able to run loose and do he's been able to do all year, it could be a long day for that Vikings defense. They're gonna have to tackle well open field. And the crazy thing about the Saints, man, and I still, the Falcons, we played them 2 times this year, and it's just like, and you see how they play, and it's like throughout Drew Brees' stint in New Orleans, it's always been he doesn't have a defense and he doesn't have a run game. So it's all Drew Brees, and you can just sell out on stopping the pass. And all of a sudden, they have a run game, and now it's like, if you shut down the run game, which is what the Panthers did last week, the Saints couldn't run the ball, and all of a sudden, Drew Brees throws for 300+ yards.
76.
So it's like he still, he shows, if the run game stopped, I'm still here. I'm still Drew Brees, and I can still throw the ball whenever I want to. I can still throw for almost 400 yards in the game.
Touchdown passes,
yeah, exactly. Against a defense in the Panthers which is no slouch.
Sure.
So this will be a classic matchup of offense versus defense. I still feel like the Saints, they don't play as well on the road as they do at home, which is going to be a factor. But with them not playing as well on the road, if you can run the ball on the road, that helps tremendously. Man, picking the game. The Falcons fan in me wants to say the Vikings are going to win, because I'd rather not have to go back to the Superdome if barring that the Falcons win. But man, I think in the end, Drew Brees makes some throws, and that offense makes some plays. I think that the Saints defense, which is also very much improved, forced Case Keenum to some turnovers. I think the Saints win a nail biter. I'll go Saints 27, Vikings 23.
Ooh, gotta go. So that's one Saints. How about you, Martha? What are you seeing?
I think this is gonna be the best game, but this is also the hardest game to pick. I'm pretty sure everyone is going tit for tat here. Pretty much with the Vikings. A lot of the teams when they play the Saints now, it's kind of like it's definitely like pick your poison, kind of like what the Panthers did. Well, with the Panthers, the first 2 games when they played the Saints, they couldn't stop the run. They was like, well, we're gonna come in, we're gonna stop the run. Then boom, Drew Brees goes off for 376, and the Vikings are gonna have to see which one they want to give up. And the thing is both teams are different from when they met back in week 1. Week 1. Adrian Peterson was still there. Saints were trying to incorporate him and Mark Ingram. Yeah. Alvin Kamara really didn't even play that much that first game. For the Vikings, Sam Bradford was your quarterback. You still had Dalvin Cook. Well, now there's no Dalvin Cook. You have Case Keenum. And now there's, Kamara and Ingram. And which, hard for me to say being a Falcons fan. But that's the best running back duo in the league right now with Kamara and Ingram. You have to give them their props. I think the difference is, which it seems like that's the theme in this playoffs right now, is who's the quarterbacks, as far as experience and inexperience. And I hate to get too ahead of myself with it, but I think the winner of this game, more than likely, kind of depends. You still have to play the game. More than likely represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's a strong chance just because of how well both these teams are. But I just think that I'm with you, Xavier. The Falcon fans wants to pick the Vikings for them to have the chance to, host the NFC Championship game, and they could still possibly host the Super Bowl. Yeah. But I just think that Drew Brees found a way to make a play, and I don't even think it's necessarily like with a deep ball. I think they catch him, with Ingram or Kamara out in the backfield with a couple of short screen plays or anything like that, because we know the matchup outside is going to be Xavier Rhodes, Michael Thomas, what's going to happen there. Harrison Smith is going to roam around, probably see what's going on with what's the guy? Is it not Higbee? That's the Rams. Watching the tight end matchup and
Hill.
Hill, and
a big game against Carolina.
He did. And so Harrison Smith's probably gonna watch her in there. He's also probably gonna watch out for Ted Ginn in the slot.
Yeah, I think they'll put him in some on Kamara too.
Yeah, put him in on Kamara. Can Everson Griffin and Anthony Barr and those can they get pressure on Drew Brees? They did the first game, so it's gonna be interesting to see, but. I'm gonna go with the Saints as well. I said because I just think that Case Keenum is a good quality quarterback. I would definitely pick him over Nick Foles. I think he'll do a lot better than Nick Foles will or whatever. But I just think that they've done so well not having Dalvin Cook. But I think this in the playoffs, I feel like if they would have had him, I probably would go with them. But at this point now, with no Dalvin Cook and the way that the Saints are playing on both sides of the ball, I like New Orleans in the close one. I say 21-20 New Orleans. I think that they don't go off as many points as they did last week with the Panthers, because that's how good the Vikings defense are. Yeah. I just feel like Drew Brees makes a couple more extra plays than Case Keenum does, and I don't think he turns the ball over against Minnesota. I think he has a turnover-free game, and Case Keenum might make a mistake just because of being in the spotlight. Now, don't get me wrong. I know he's been in some big games when he was back in Houston, but this isn't the Beef O'Brady's Bowl or the Pinstripe Bowl. This isn't one of those like post Christmas bowl games. This is like legit.
Yeah. So you're playing for a chance to host the NFC
Championship game and be the first team to ever maybe host a Super Bowl. Yeah. I just think it's too much Drew Brees and they pull it out.
Part of me, I'm gonna have to agree too, because even though Drew Brees historically hasn't played as great on the road in the playoffs, those are all in cold weather environments. The 2006 NFC Championship game, they played in snow against the Bears, and the Bears beat the brakes off of them. The other games, they play in Seattle.
Yep.
It was cold. It was
cold and raining.
Vikings have a dome now, and that's what the Saints like to play in.
Yeah.
And
A nice one.
A nice one. That's where the Super Bowl's going to play. And at the same time, no team has played a home Super Bowl game.
No
and I
team,
feel like, that's just history.
Yeah.
So I like the Saints. And just because, this feels like 2009 for me, for a lifelong Saints fan. I watch them every year. This has the feel of the 2019, but with a better defense and a better running game.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of handing it off to Pierre Thomas, we're handing it off to two of the league's leading rushers and pass catching backs in Kamara and Ingram. And I feel like you just get Josh Hill involved, the tight end. He's gonna be the X factor too, because I feel like Michael Thomas might be taken out of the game. Xavier Rhodes is good enough. Corner. He can take Michael Thomas out of the game.
He can. I mean, what did he do? Julio was like 2 for 26 or
something like that, man. That's a big physical corner, man. So Michael Thomas gonna have a chance for it all day.
But I still like knock on wood here. I like New Orleans to win it and set up another trip to the NFC Championship game, which would be A-okay with me. In terms of a score, I'm gonna go 20-13.
Okay.
Saints win a nail biter, and the closest and toughest game to pick in this in this divisional round. But that's about all the time we have for you today. We had a nice lengthy podcast, some good discussion, and I believe we'll be back Tuesday.
Yeah.
First day of classes, so we'll be in prime time shape. So this is Elijah Campbell with Xavier Dupree and Martha Sanders. Thank you for listening to Stuck in the Middle, brought to you by NSCN. Follow us on at NSCN__MTDN on Twitter for more updates and podcasts. Thank you very much.